Hey everyone, my name is Mike, and I'm the lead designer and developer of Melee Masters. In this video, we'll be demonstrating a lot of the core gameplay of the game, what you could expect from an average game. In general, it'll just go over the highlights of what makes the game different and unique, and shows overall how a traditional game will probably play out. You'll notice some issues along the way, but hopefully I address them, and hopefully I address all your concerns. At the bottom of the screen, you'll see the general UI for each player. The bar in the middle is the equivalent of the percentage bar. The number works similar to percentages. Each black tick mark will signify 1 times more damage, or 100% more damage. Well, actually that doesn't entirely work, so the first bar, once you're at about 50%, you'll be taking full knockback. So as you can see there, Surge was at a low percent, he got hit, he did not fly very far. And that's because he's at a low percentage, obviously. And then the second tick will signify they take twice as much knockback, the third tick 3 times as much. And this bar grows on an exponential curve, so it takes about 300% to actually hit the end of it. Below it is the ultimate bar, and ultimates are something I added to the game, and you'll be seeing a little bit more of that later in the clips. Some of the stuff I'd like to go over initially is some of the general movement changes that I made to, I guess, the traditional Smash Brothers style movement system in order to make it a bit easier on the low end. So one of the aspects I added was ledge canceling, where if you're in a move that would normally stop you on an edge, so say you do a forward smash and you're about to fly off the edge, or a dash attack. If you hold L, as my friend did here, you can instantly cancel the animation you were on and then act out of it. So this opens up some possibilities for potential tech reads, but also different combos. One other aspect I changed was the pivot system. So you'll see the character Surge, the one in blue here, he does an up tilt, and then he instantly turns around and does another up tilt. And this was all with and does a down B. This was all with a single motion, and then similarly right there again, he pivoted and turned around. The pivoting in this game doesn't lock you in place, and it doesn't require an additional input after you turn around in order to start moving again. So after you press the opposite direction that you're facing, if you just keep holding, you'll start running with no additional input needed. So what I'd like to show here is an example of ultimates. One of them is an instant cast, and the other one is a duration. So Andor, the character on the left with the sword, he engulfs his sword in flames, and it allows all his attacks to send out projectiles. And so this gives him extreme dominance over the map and allows him to control an enormous amount of space depending on what attacks he uses. The attacks also transfer their normal hitboxes, so his forward air, for example, was the same knockback as if he hit with the actual sword. What you'll see later in the clip is Quake's ultimate, which is a one-time cast, and it'll function similar to a power block from Super Mario Bros., where if you're on the ground or very near the ground, when he casts it, you will get stuck in the ground, and you'll be stunned for about 2 to 3 seconds. And what I'd like to do as far as ultimate balance is make it so that you'll get probably around 2 a match, and taking more damage and dying obviously increases your ult meter more than living. The way it is now, people generate it about 3 or 4 per match if the game goes long, and I would just like to rewind there and show you what Quake did with his ultimate. What he did was, he spawned a rock, threw it upwards, and then casted his ultimate to hit Andor. And then immediately after, hit him again with a forward smash. Unfortunately, he was at 0%, so he didn't actually take a lot of damage. But at higher percents, or at medium percents, this can lead to almost a guaranteed kill if you're good enough. One of the most unique characters to this series, and that is Umbra. It's the character in black here. And she functions similar to Ice Climbers, except you only control one at a time, and there's no AI controlling the other one. And what you could do is, at any point in time, unless you're not stunned, you can switch which one you're controlling. So this can allow you to do some cool team combos like I attempted there, where I position one of them on the left side of the stage, one on the right side, and then I switch which one I'm controlling. Now, the clone does take damage. It takes half damage. It takes no knockback, though. So if you don't protect your clone, it can just sit there and get smashed, as Quake was attempting to do in this clip. And then I start moving the clone and switching in order to protect it. Now, to show off a bit more on ultimates and what I'd like for ultimate philosophy is I don't want them to be press ultimate instant kill, like you die. So what I've done with pretty much all the characters, they will leave the person casting it in a position where if they play it right, the enemy can die if you're good enough. So Andor's, for example, it's not a guaranteed kill, but if you're off the stage and he does his forward smash, it limits your recovery options, so there is the potential. Umbra's as well, what she does is she allows you to control both clones at the same time, and it puts them both in this sort of ghost-like state where they both take half damage, so you can't knock her back, so you really just have to avoid, as Andor tries to do here. However, because I'm more experienced with the character, I can cover all the options and pretty much kill them out pretty easily. So you'll definitely notice I slowed down there to illustrate some of the glitches that are still apparent. You'll notice some of the animations don't line up with what the character is actually doing. A lot of these are actually pretty simple to fix. However, a lot of them require two people to be playing, so once I get more help actually playtesting, these will be a lot easier to resolve. And in fact, a lot of these have been resolved already since the time of this recording. And I hope this just gives you a general overview of what you'd expect to see from a typical gameplay of the game. I hope you can appreciate some of the uniqueness of some of the characters. Surge and Andor are pretty much your traditional fighters, where there's not really too much unique aspects to their playstyles, whereas you have Quake and Umbra, and there's a lot more characters to introduce that have these unique playstyles, where Quake he's your typical slow, strong hitter, but he has a lot of ranged abilities. So typically slow, heavy hitters are very close range, grapple heavy, but with Quake he can really zone people, space people out with his rock throwing abilities. Although it's not perfectly illustrated here, we are, still feeling out the characters ourselves, and we're obviously not, even though I created the game, I still don't know the full development of the potential of each character, so you'll see playstyles change over time. This is just how me and my colleagues play at the moment, and obviously there'll be more characters to introduce in the future. And what you're seeing here is Surge's ultimate, which gives him turbo mode, so after every attack he can instantly act again. And that's another aspect of the balance philosophy for ultimates, where I want it so they cast the ultimate and it's not a guaranteed kill. But if you're stupidly good with Surge and you can chain 6 hits together in the span of 5 frames, then it would be an instant kill, or it would be a guaranteed kill. But there's the skill aspect of it. It's not like press button, kill other character. So I hope you enjoyed. I'd like to release the full gameplay, the full matches of these. However, some of them do demonstrate some unfortunate bugs that I'd like to fix, so in the future we'll probably record other matches to demonstrate full gameplay of. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed watching. There will definitely be a lot more coming in the future now that you've seen the characters in action, and I could dig a lot deeper into the specific aspects of the way the characters play, their unique mechanics, dive a bit deeper into the unique mechanics of the game, and I'm happy to show you more. Thank you for watching.